Hey, hi guys. I am going to go through your marginalization assignment and ask questions that are perhaps more in-depth and will help you understand the text in a different light. So last time we went through slides 1 through 4, and so at this point I will be continuing with slides 5. Okay, being able to identify marginalization is an important tool for people who are interested in combating injustice and inequality. The margin refers to the edge or border of something, to not be centered. When people or issues are not centered, when they remain at the margin, they are often given less attention and taken less seriously. They become marginalized. When that happens, it is called marginalization. Marginalization is the result of historical disadvantage, social processes that are deeply ingrained, uneven power relationships, unfair economic relationships and agreements, and bad policies. So let's sequence the events that lead to marginalization. So we take certain people or events that are causing certain people to be in distress or have concerns, or basically there's some form of maybe other oppression that's going on. And when those concerns are not addressed to the larger population, then they are given less attention and they are put even further on the margin of society, and that leads to marginalization. Okay. So let's look at slide number 6. Right, so it has the same exact quote here, but a different question. How does marginalization relate to historical disadvantages, social processes, and power? Okay, well that kind of relates to this last bit where it says marginalization is the result of historical disadvantage, social processes that are deeply ingrained, uneven power relationships, unfair economic relationships and agreements, and bad policies. So, as a result, marginalization has some sort of historical relation to how these different disadvantages and power struggles are related. Basically, in a historical context, when these groups were marginalized and their concerns not heard, it would exacerbate or even increase the kind of disadvantages that they had going on in the past, and therefore make it harder for their concerns to be visible or recognized as valid. Okay, going on to slide 7. Marginalization is based on a person's wealth, gender, ethnicity, and language. The degree to which one is marginalized can depend on a variety of factors, including poverty, social stigmatization, discrimination laws, and weak political representation. These factors combine in different contexts and in different ways to marginalize individuals and whole communities. Marginalization can be cumulative. Possessing one or more marginalized identities results in further marginalization. This maintains the social and political isolation and powerlessness of the most marginalized communities. So, what does it mean when they're trying to talk about marginalization can be cumulative? Marginalization can add up in multiple areas, basically. So when you talk about certain underlying identities of people, that can work against them to make sure that their voices are even less heard within certain communities as well. So when I took the example of a person of color being a part of the LGBTQ community, they might not even have their voices or concerns addressed in regards to their queer identity within their community, their of people that are from whatever color background they have, whether that's related to their cultural background or religious background. It really even separates them and their concerns even further, whether it relates to concerns of not being equally represented or discrimination. It's either way something that really silences their voices. Okay. Now, I'm going to look at slide 8. How does the sentence "by pushing the thoughts, ideas, concerns, and needs of certain communities to the edge, most of the people in society are unaware of the issues facing marginalized communities" affect the reader's understanding? So that's a very dense sentence that's really trying to affect the understanding of the reader in regards to marginalization by forcing them to think about what information stories is presented to them and perhaps what kind of ideas and thoughts might not necessarily be something that they're aware of. It's basically, we don't necessarily have everyone's perspective in mind. We sometimes have the viewpoints of only certain groups of people at the forefront because of the kind of access to information that we either do or do not have. So kind of like the same idea that history is written by the winners. Okay. Now, this last paragraph. What does the last paragraph help the reader realize? That's on slide number 9. The last paragraph helps the reader to realize how marginalization keeps power in the same hands, the same people, as well as recognize how marginalization does not exactly help redistribute power to other people. It really makes it an unfair and unequal balance of certain things like resources and access to having their voices heard. Okay. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and stop at this point, and I will see you guys next time in the next video. Hope this gave you some idea of how to answer these questions. Again, please feel free to email me or Google Voice text me anytime that you have a question. Goodbye, guys.